welcome to the first episode of Noir TV. I'm your host, Demi Vaughn, and I'm the president of the Ball State chapter of the National Association of Black Journalists. Tonight, I'm joined by my lovely co-host.
Hi, my name is Joe Riley, and I'm a member of the NABJ chapter here at Ball State.
Tonight, we have three special guests joining us. Our first guest is Dr. Terry Whitt Bailey, a candidate for Muncie Mayor and the Community Development Director of Muncie.
And our second guest is Kwesi Rogers, a Ball State student and artist. He'll be showing us some of his cool paintings and talking to us about artistry. We'll be talking to Kwesi after the commercial break. Following that, we'll be having a performance from poet Maya Montague.
Thank you all so much for supporting our first ever episode. We're looking forward to bringing you on this journey with us.
Look at you. You're at the top of your game. You're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Yeah, I saw that coming. That will throw you off track. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Noir TV, and we have our first guest with us, Dr. Bailey.
Hello, Dr. Bailey.
Hello.
How are you doing tonight?
Doing great, thank you.
So, Dr. Bailey, tell us a little bit about your background. You know, where are you from? Where did you go to college? And what did you study?
Okay, well, I am originally from Springfield, Illinois. And my dad's job moved us to Indianapolis when I was 15. So I went to high school in Indianapolis. And you said, where did I study? I did undergraduate work at Rutgers University in New Jersey. And I have 2 degrees in dance and communications. Went to graduate school at UCLA. I have a degree in dance education. And I did some postgraduate studies at Harvard in management development. And finished with my Doctor of Ministry degree from Newburgh Theological Seminary.
Nice. So how important do you think it is to have diversity in leadership?
Oh my goodness. It is very important to have diversity and inclusion. I like to use both words together. And when a person is open or inclusive, diversity happens easily. And that's one of the things that I really make sure that I do in the office that I work in and the office that I seek. And really all that I do, because people that are different from you, you can learn from if you're open and inclusive.
Right.
How can people, specifically millennials, educate themselves when it comes to politics?
Wow, that's a really good question. I've been spending quite a bit of time here at Ball State University, and you've got some great student organizations. I'm attached pretty well to the Ball State Democrats and the Young Democrats. So those are 2 groups that are here on campus that are teaching me a few things. And I think that if students, young millennials, would get involved on campus, those who are college students, I think that that would be very helpful. There are other things that are happening where if we just watch the news or read the newspaper, we can get involved and learn more about what's happening locally, which I think is very important for people as well as nationally.
Nice. So what made you want to run for mayor?
That's another, you ask really good questions. There were a few reasons. The first reason was that the current mayor is not seeking re-election. And I work for city government now. I work for the current mayor. And when he did not seek or was not seeking re-election, I consulted with my family and prayed about it for about a week. And literally on Martin Luther King Day, I made that decision to run for mayor. And it's really because I've had a lot of experiences in Muncie, leadership experiences, serving on a lot of nonprofit boards, working here at Ball State University, as well as Cornerstone Center for the Arts and the Madam Walker Theater Center. So I've had a lot of leadership experience, and I feel like this is my time to run for mayor.
Definitely.
So if you were to be selected as mayor, what is something you really, really want to do for Muncie?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind always is bringing people together. And we started the interview in talking about diversity and inclusiveness. And it's really being inclusive. we have so many groups and organizations and departments that are working separately, and we need to have people working together. And it sounds like a big pie in the sky thing, but we need to be working better together. And in fact, that's your theme at Ball State University, isn't it? Better together. My theme for my campaign is Together We Rise. And it's kind of saying the same thing, but it's working with people, bringing those people to the table and including them in decision making.
Right, definitely. So tell us about your connection to the arts and what is the importance of the arts?
My connection to the arts. I started dancing when I was 3 years old and was in my first ballet company when I was 12 years old. I didn't realize that I was the only person of color in the company and really burned out at age 15. And when we moved to Indianapolis, I started dancing again. And then had to make a decision going to college if I was going to go as a voice major, which I studied voice, or go as a dance major. And that was in my heart, and that was really what God put me on this earth to do, is to be a dancer and to teach dance. And so it was a given. It was what I knew that I wanted to do. As a kindergarten girl, I knew that I wanted to run my own art school. I knew that. I didn't know how to say it right. And there really was an arts administration in college when I went to college. And so I knew that by the age of 50 that I wanted to do that. And I became the first president and CEO of Cornerstone Center for the Arts here in Muncie, Indiana at age 40. So I was 10 years early in my bucket list, if you will. And as I thought, okay, now what do I do after I do all of this? And running for mayor is where I am.
Amazing.
Like it. And then for a final question,
Yes.
aside from the politics
Yes.
and all of the hard work, I'm more than sure you might have just a little bit of free time. So what are some of your hobbies or any other interests include?
Free time right now, that doesn't happen. But my husband and I really like movies, and I love to crochet. Anytime somebody's having a baby, I make them a blanket.
Aw, that's so sweet.
And I love to read. And that's the one thing that I miss right now, being so active and involved, is reading, learning more. Yeah.
Love it, love it.
Well, thank you, Dr. Bailey. Noir TV will be right back after our commercial break.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You don't have to be so strong.
Strength is not optional. This is my mother, my purpose. Real muscle is lifting her spirits between bedpans and bad news from doctors that doubt her strength. Strength is buried in bills, managing meds, and swallowing those moments of, Mom, it's me, your daughter. Remember? My strength is super, but I'm still human, right?
Find support for your strength. Visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community.
Welcome back to Noir TV. We're joined here with Kwesi Rogers, a student at Ball State University who has some pretty impressive artistic talents.
Kwesi, how are you doing this evening?
No, I'm doing good today. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for bringing me.
You're welcome. We're happy to have you. So I see that you brought some paintings here for us today. Do you mind showing us?
Yes, I don't mind at all. I brought a few. So this one right here, I honestly don't have a name for it. You want to name it?
Sure.
What you want to name it?
I have no idea.
That's a good name for it, to be honest.
I have no idea.
No, seriously, because to be honest, when I was painting this, I really did not know where I was going with it. I was just painting, and it just happened to be this. I was actually painting it during the meeting. They was just nice to let me paint while as I was speaking to them. But I like painting like pretty much images or paintings of black people, because like that's just my preference. And this one right here, I actually call this Vibes. And I think you kind of see why I call it Vibes, like with
Yeah.
with the painting.
Definitely.
But pretty much it's like you can just catch a vibe, like that's just her vibes within the paintings. Yeah, well, I think it speaks for itself, to be honest. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah. And then this one right here, this was actually this woman that I know that wanted me to paint her. Yeah, and then this actually took some time too, but it's just like it was really a good experience. Like she was great, like just modeling for me, and then like it was just a good experience.
So, Kwesi, how old were you when you knew that you wanted to be an artist?
To be honest, man, probably like a year and a half ago. Want to be honest with you. Like, I always knew that I could paint or like I had a talent for it, but to be honest, like I never like focused on it. I would just always focus on like other things or really like the wrong things. And then like a year and a half ago, I was thinking like, if God bless you with something, like why not use it? Because like so much people like in this world, they have talents and it just goes to waste. And then like it's nothing worse than wasted potential. Mm-hmm. So like once I started viewing like life like that in a way, that's when I started taking art more seriously, or just like showing my talent more.
Got it.
Yeah.
So what would you say is the best part about being an artist?
To be honest, just be able to like express yourself in a different form, because like as an artist, like I don't have to honestly express myself or explain how I feel just through my words. Right. Like, and sometimes like I may not even have the words to say something, but I know I can paint it. And then and also like the best thing to me about being an artist is that you can actually have deep meanings within the painting, and then that can like last far more than words. Because you know, paint is, if you keep it protected, it can be there for 1,000 years. And like me, like my words only gonna last like 5 seconds. So yeah.
So Kwesi, how did you find your inspirations, and what influences you to make these creations?
What influences me to make these creations is just being just black myself, and then also just other black individuals and just the black culture and the black community is what influenced me, because I see being black or just being a part of the black race it's considered a gem, but like, you know, unfortunately it's not looked upon that way, and like we don't view ourselves as a gem or just like as powerful as we really are, because like to be honest, I see like the potential like, you know, black people do possess, and like, you know, what we are capable of, but like, you know, if we knew that as a whole, I believe like everything would be operating a lot differently. So that's part of the reason why I focus my paintings on black people, because in a way I feel like it could enlighten them, or it's just the fact they can see like, wow, like this is a painting of me. Like, you know, a little girl, a little boy can see like a beautiful painting, and like, you know, hopefully that can inspire them to be something, or like, you know, or just empower them in a way.
Right. So how important do you think it is for people to be able to express themselves, whether it's through painting or through poetry, for example?
I think it's real important to be able to express yourselves, but honestly, I feel like the society we live in, like we really can't express ourselves like we want to because of fear.
Right.
Like, you know, you can't really say exactly what you want to say or what's on your mind. But I think it is important for like, you know, all of us to be able to state like how we feel, or like, you know, what's boiling inside of us. But then like whether it's like, you know, whether it can be something beautiful like as in art, or like, you know, you just expressing a concern. I feel like everybody should be able to like, you know, be vocal and be able to express themselves. Yeah.
And finally, do you have any future plans for your art, or are there any goals that you have set for your artistry?
Nah, man, but hold on. I'm definitely gonna show this Nipsey one while I'm here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
All right, so.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is my,
Nice.
yeah, I wanted to show you that before this was over with. I apologize.
That's okay.
But yeah, this is my Nipsey one. I just had to show this just like, you know, just for respect, to be honest. But like this beard, I turned into it like I made it from actually words that he said that inspired me, that I look up to, that like, you know, I want to live by in a way. But yeah, like yeah, Nipsey, that's a good dude.
Yeah. Super dope.
It's amazing. And so finally, Kwesi, do you have any future plans, or where do you expect your artistry to take you after this?
To be honest, man, I think everything's in God's hands. So like I'm gonna keep painting and just like pretty much just keep growing as a person, and like, you know, whatever comes with it, you know, comes with it. But I honestly do want to start having like art galleries and exhibits. But then I'm in the process of putting together pretty much like a brand for artists, or like creators to where they can like express themselves, or just like an outlet for them to be able to like express themselves and like, you know, their inner artists, their creativity, and then just be able to be comfortable, because like there are platforms for artists, but then like I feel like there's not too many platforms for artists. So I feel like I like to be able to create a platform for artists, like just like me, or even far from like me, because we're all different, you know, in our own way. But like if I'm able to do that, like, you know, just be able to like be able to bring like together other artists, and like we can actually create like actual change. Oh yeah, I love that.
Right.
Perfect.
Well, thank you, Kwesi, and you know, thank you so much for coming out, and we really appreciate you taking your time out to come talk to us. And
Oh, yeah, no
we wish you the best of luck with your
Thank you so
artistic
much for coming.
journey.
Really
I
do
appreciate
Thank you
it.
so much.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
Noir TV will be right back right after this commercial break.
If you love them enough to crawl into a play place to get them to come down, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Welcome back to Noir TV. For our final guest, we have a Ball State poet here to give a performance. Please welcome Maya Montague.
This poem is called Love Language. In 7th grade, I failed my first class. Spanish 1 and I were not amigos by any means. My teacher will cite my lackluster studying abilities as the culprit. I will cite verb tenses or conjugation. Coincidentally, 7th grade was also the first time I realized that the native tongue for my body was a language I never wanted to speak. It kept trying to use the feminine conjugation to no avail, but the masculine one didn't quite fit either, and I couldn't understand why there's no compromise between the two, no middle ground for me to speak on. And so I thought that maybe a different name could trick my tongue into saying the right things. As if swapping out Maya for Miguel would put a different stamp on this package, someone might actually handle it with care, but I never got around to delivering it. And so now I find myself writing a requiem for a dead name I never had the courage to bury. Watch as my body disrespects my identity and dances on a grave I've yet to inhabit but used to think about daily. But these days I can only think back to the culture days in Spanish class where we learned about the Day of the Dead. A time for those living to celebrate those past. And I remember thinking that no matter what I did, no one would ever celebrate me like that, so maybe I should just cut my losses. You see, I never quite wanted to kill myself, but I definitely wanted to not exist. Every time I put on a shirt and marveled at my broad shoulders, only to put on pants and realize that my hips were just as broad. I used to look in the mirror and pray that my lips bury me like Latin, but I stuck around. Because I figured I'm no body worth dying over. And I spent years forcing my tongue to clunk over words that never tasted like home, sister, daughter, girlfriend. My body is a dialect of love I'm only beginning to learn how to speak. And each day it teaches me a new word. Yesterday was difficult. Today is breathing. Tomorrow will be okay. And as I flip through the flashcards of self-care, I slowly build my vocabulary, and soon I'll be able to write my story in anything other than my own blood, shed the shackles of conjugation, and learn to be. This poem's called Unfamiliar, after Heartland, Wisconsin. When the familiar becomes unfamiliar, we suddenly love all the things we used to hate. Watch apologies metamorphosize into acceptance. Feel our mouths remold the words, I can't wait to leave until I miss you. A love-hate relationship can only exist if there is both love and hate. They live in separate houses on different streets, still in the same neighborhood, but we want to act as if the whole town doesn't exist. If love has an opposite, then I don't want anything to do with either of them, and how soon we forget that the taste of bitter comes like a monsoon, but remember that sweet is a gentle mist on our tongues after the storm is past, and we let it entice us back once more. And in our ignorance, we try to cling to anything of a homely shape, try to rely on the familiar to protect us from itself, and our bodies are covered in armor that as the sun comes up, we don't remember dawning, so we scrape away the last known pieces of ourselves. Forget who we are, how we got there. Throw away the maps. Watch as our hands reach out for something that we once considered home, unsure of whether it is a mirage, unsure of whether we want it to be one or not.
Wow, that was absolutely beautiful.
It was absolutely breathtaking,
I loved
Joel.
it a
I have
lot.
to agree with you.
I loved it a lot.
Well, that concludes our first episode. This show is brought to you by the Ball State chapter of the National Association of Black Journalists. We want to thank you for the support. Again, I'm your host, Demi Vaughn.
And I'm your host, Joel Riley.
Now check out this video that the chapter put together. We did man on the street interviews, and we went around and we asked various students about the importance of voting and why they should vote. Thank you guys so much once again, and have a great night. Hey guys, it's Demi Vaughn here.
And I'm Jasmine Cheers.
And today we're going to be doing man on the street interviews, and we're going to be talking to various Ball State students about voting and the importance of voting.
Yeah, so this is our very first man on the street and we're really excited, so let's get to it.
Let's go. Hi guys, so I'm here with Danielle. So Danielle, what do you think the importance of voting is?
I think it's important to vote because this is our country and we should have a say in the different policies and different laws that are enacted and the people in charge of our country, and what, people in charge are the people making decisions for what our country is, and as Americans we should have a say in that.
Well, I feel like if you don't vote, you don't care. And voting, okay, so on a presidency level, I feel like the president definitely matters to me because I voted for Obama on game. And my family voted for Obama, you know what I'm saying? I'm a Democrat. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like voting matters, because if you don't vote, you don't care. Because there's a lot of things that people do in our life that affect everybody and not just you. So if you don't vote, then you clearly don't care about your society or your community and your people. Yeah.
So currently in the U.S., there are so many people that aren't registered to vote. Do you have any idea why that is?
I think a lot of it could have to do with the lack of just general education. And government is not something you see actively occurring every day just in a typical life. So it's really easy just to forget that we are under the government of a governmental system in this country. So I think that's why a lot of people forget it.
So why do you think that so many Americans don't participate in voting each year?
I think the reason that people don't do that would probably stem from the fact that maybe they're not educated on who they're voting for or exactly what they're voting for, because I know a couple of my friends who refused to vote just because they were unsure of either the candidates running, or they weren't sure what the candidates stood for or what their platforms were. So I think that's just a huge reason that they wouldn't.
A lot of people are, number one, miseducated. They don't have the proper knowledge to understand that if I want to change my situation, I must vote, right? A lot of people believe that if I vote, it won't make a difference. That's what you hear. Because I remember I had a conversation with a couple young men in my hometown. I'm like, are you registered? They said no. I said, I'm registered. I'm going to vote today. Jaylee, what you going to vote for? And that vote don't even matter. They going to pick who they want to pick. Listen to me. If you never vote, you will never make a difference. But if we all begin to vote, we all can make a difference.
All right. Thank you so much, Jalen.